Sup, you chuckle fucks, it's your boy, it's Dakuraitoningu here with What If Issei, well not What If Issei, no, not What If Issei, but what if I, Dakuraitoningu / Lord Potato, was in DXD? God, this is going to be stupid as hell. So, yesterday, like fucking stream, like I did say, I was going to mention to doing this damn what if. Like that one person that was literally on crack on my goddamn stream and also singular point asking me, or singular point what ifs to ask me to actually make this what if because, well, he asked me. Also, there was another motherfucker that asked me to do it and he said that I was going to be extremely interesting. I think it was like 5 months ago that he asked me and I never made it. But yeah. So I can either put mostly my first channel's name on the mostly title or mostly second channel. It doesn't really matter. You don't actually need to know my real name, so not the point. But of course, mostly I am literally going to be called Dakuraitoningu in the story. But yeah, so not the point. So we're going to begin into this what if, and let me just begin into this what if. Even though I never actually do some of these what ifs, mostly what ifs that usually contain me in the story too much. I mean, it does sometimes contain me in the story in some what ifs, but mostly as like some kind of god slayer or some kind of entity that doesn't really care about balance too much. But yeah, that's what I'm usually as an anomaly here. Usually in Lord Potato's channel, mostly that's my first channel, usually I am contained to look like a fucking potato most of the time, but not the point. In this Dakuraitoningu channel, I am looked to be more like a humanoid, but of course I'm not fully human, but yeah. Not the fucking point. Let me just begin to this what if. Let me shut the fuck up and let me stop rambling on. Also, I should mention one thing. I almost fucking went blind because I literally put chili pepper in my eye. Not on purpose, on accident, because my dumbass was a while ago kind of like putting chili peppers in a stove to cook it up. And I completely forgot that I needed to wash my hands. And when I scratched my eye was burning for a hot 2 minutes or more. I don't remember. I don't care. So, not the fucking point. Let me begin into the what if. Let me shut the fuck up. Let me first get water first. So, let me begin. Also, never mind. Maybe I should do that. Nah. I might alternate the story of, well, mostly the what if Issei was Madara Uchiha's reincarnation. I might alternate the story. I'm not going to redo it. I'm just going to give another storyline, like a side story, but not the point. But not the fucking point. I'm just rambling on right now, so let me just begin and shut the fuck up about this. And let me begin, okay? Wow, where are my new black Crocs that I bought yesterday? That were literally $49 instead of being $24, because they literally said 24, but you know what, fuck it, I don't care. Let me begin. So, we begin into mostly Issei. Or, well, not Issei. Mostly Issei's parents. One that's actually named Miki, not Miki. Why am I forgetting mostly Issei's mother's name? What they call? So her name was Miki Hiro, and of course, mostly the father being Goro Hiro. They are right now in the hospital because, well, of their children being born. Now, there's actually one kind of already a little baby child that's right now being held by mostly the father, while the mother is pushing out the other child. Now, the first child actually has kind of like blackish hair with highlights of turquoise kind of blue on it. Now, of course, there's like one patch of like literally turquoise blue. This is where he has black hair. A tint of brown hair, but not much. His eyes are actually turquoise. This is where, well, he's one of the rarest kind of children to ever have. To ever actually come out being different. Now, of course, he actually has the genetics of both parents. He has no other genetics except for maybe, what's it called, Mika's, well, mostly grandfather, from the fact that the genetics and other things, but yeah, there's no cheating, there was no what's it called, affair or any of that. This is where, well, Goro kind of was relieved when he heard about this, but this is the first child. Mostly he is considered to be the first child and the oldest child for right now, because the second child is actually being born. A boy with mostly brownish hair, who is actually does have a hint, well, mostly some brownish hair on top of his head, but of course, well, he does have brownish golden eyes. This is where, well, they're kind of golden a little bit, but not much. This is where, well, the doctor says that this is actually the second child. The first child is named Raiten Hyoto, while the third, well, mostly not third, the second child is named Isehiro. This is where, well, mostly Mika was just happy to have both baby boys together. Of course, Raito was actually named by mostly Mika's grandfather. Mostly his full name would be Dakuraitoningu, but Raito would be mostly his like actual name. Sometimes they just call him that. But this is where, well, mostly Mika is just happy to have both baby boys. One who's actually 1 year older than the other. But yeah, this is where, well, Mika is just so happy because she literally has so many carries or miscarriages. That means that she couldn't really have that many children. But this is where, well, she managed to pull out 2 baby boys that are actually quite healthy. This is where one was quite 1 year older than the other one. But of course, that does not really matter. This is where, well, we go into a time skip. About mostly, well, about literally about, what's it called, 5 years later. This is where, well, mostly the baby boy who's actually 1 year older, he is right now 5 years old. Well, mostly not 5 years old, 6 years old, while the other one is actually mostly 5 years old. Now, we go into mostly the POV of the youngest child, being Isehiro. Isehiro was actually walking around the park, of course looking for his older brother because, well, his older brother went off to do something. He didn't know what exactly his older brother does most of the time because his older brother is a quite genius, smart, intelligent child, but he never doesn't show his intelligence too much to his parents. It's always mostly towards Issei and quite overprotective Issei. Now, of course, well, Issei is looking around until he bumped into this like older man. Well, not older man, but mostly an older man with a bunch of group of kids and other things. Now the older man was literally talking about of the love of oppai and other things. But yeah, well, actually there weren't actually 5 or 6. No, it was mostly like mostly, what's it called, 9 years. So mostly they were kind of mostly the older child being 9 years old, while mostly Issei was 8 years old. But yeah, he bumped into this like group of people. Of course, he was kind of saddened for mostly his best friend, who was named Irina Shibuya, who actually left towards mostly Europe about mostly a week ago. He was quite saddened, but of course his older brother was someone to comfort him most of the time. But this is where, well, he saw this group and was wondering what this older man was talking about. The older man started talking about the great and the love of oppai. Now, of course, well, Issei was confused a little bit, but before most of the older man keeps talking, someone rushes up to the older man, drop kicks him, literally drop kicks him, mostly jumps up and literally just did a karate kick mid-air, kicking the older man right now off his mostly like, well, he's still kind of sitting down, but mostly the kick was so powerful that mostly the leg for the legs of the chair, mostly the bench that was sitting down, managed to kind of break, and of course the person falls down, mostly back of his head smashing into the like soft grass, but not the point. This is where, well, the kid managed to do a backflip, what the fuck, a backflip and land down, well, not backflip, we'll say a front flip and then land down perfectly fine like a badass. And this is where, well, the kid looked to be nothing like, mostly he looked to be the same age as some of the other kids who were watching the older man talk about the love of oppai, but mostly the kid had blackish hair, had turquoise kind of highlights blue color in his eye. I mean, not eyes, hair. Of course, there was one, mostly in his right eye, there was actually, well, not right eye, mostly in his left eye, there was a big patch of blue hair, like turquoise, but not the point. But this is where, well, there was also, well, his eyes were turquoise blue, both of them. This is where, well, he then kind of turns around to see mostly Issei and says, the person says, Issei, what have I told you about talking to strangers and listening into the strangers' conversation with other people? It's better not to listen to perverted idiots like these. And this is where, well, right now, Isehiro says, I'm sorry, Oni-san. This is where, well, he kind of looks down, put both of his hands together because he really didn't hear much of what the older man was talking about. But this is where, well, the older kid right now goes up to Issei and kind of just hugs him, seeing that he's fine. And this is where, well, the older kid says, now, we should probably be getting home to mom and dad. Understood? This is where, well, right now, Issei nodding and says, yes, Oni-san. This is where, well, the older man tries to get up, and this is where he was surprised that kid's kick was quite powerful. This is where, well, he didn't even sense the kid until the last second. He tried to use a magic barrier, but the magic barrier was shattered in an instant or nullified. He didn't understand too much. But this is where, well, the kid is right now protecting the brownish-haired boy. This is where, well, mostly the older man kind of notices. Now, the older man tries to get up and say, that hurt it. This is where the older kid says, all of you, This is where he then gets all the attention of the other kids. And this is where, well, the other kids say, get the F out of here. This is where, well, he really wasn't going to say fuck, but this is where, well, mostly he knows about cuss words and other things, but this is where, well, it had a very dark tone, scary tone voice, making the other kids right now shit himself and right now had traumatized, like not touching Opie, so not becoming perverts in the near future. This is where a bunch of kids literally fucking ran like hell. This is where, well, mostly Issei said, Oni-san, was it really necessary to say something like that? This is where, well, mostly the other kid, who still has mostly his hand on top of his little brother's head, says, of course it's fine. Besides, there's no way in hell I'll let anyone touch my little brother, or even make my little brother a pervert. This is where, well, mostly Issei says, pervert? What does that mean? This is where, well, mostly the other kid says, don't worry, I won't let anyone know about what a pervert is, but that's not the point. Now, we should probably be getting home, okay? This is where, mostly the younger kid right now nodded and says, yes, let's go home, Oni-san. This is where, mostly the other kid was about to start walking away until someone grabs his hand. This is where, well, he looks up to see mostly a grayish hair, or mostly a white kind of like not white highlight girl, mostly a girl with kind of lightish white hair. She has bluish eyes, and of course she seems to have like the suit on her. Now, of course, this is none other than Rusty Weiss, and she's actually, well, she would be kind of 90-ish, yeah, 19 in what they call mostly original canon in the near future, but right now she's actually around kind of 15. This is where, well, she's actually kind of a young kind of Valkyrie who's actually protecting Odin. This is where, oh, she then looks at mostly me and says, did you just attack Odin-san? This is where, well, mostly she asked the older looking kid. This is where, well, who's actually completely younger than her, but this is where, well, she questioned the older kid. This is where, well, mostly the older kid from the little brother or something. This is where, well, the other kid, what he did is basically ripped his hand, well, mostly kind of just pull his hand fast enough from mostly the person's grasp, and right now kind of, well, jump away from mostly the person, grabbing his little brother and jumping away a little bit. And this is where, well, mostly he says, what are we doing, Oni-san? This is where the older brother says, get on my back. I don't really like this person's attitude. This is where, well, mostly the little brother nodded and says, okay. This is where, well, mostly the older girl says, hey, didn't I question you? This is where, well, mostly the older brother of the, well, mostly Issei kind of says, little brother, I need you to do something. Close your eyes and, well, mostly try to close your ears. Yes, I understood. This is where, well, mostly the other brother, right now his eyes crackle with bluish lightning. This is where, well, from Issei. Well, mostly Issei's older brother. And this is where, well, his hair started becoming darker than normal. This is where Issei says, well, not Issei, mostly the other person says, huh? And why the hell should I tell anything to you? This is where his power rivaled that of a dragon god in an insane, right now making the 15-year-old whine her eyes. This is where, well, right now Odin whined his eyes because literally that power rivals that of literally a dragon god. A 9-year-old right now is rivaling that of a dragon, well, not dragon god, a dragon king right now. This is where, well, he is shocked. This is where, well, he doesn't know if the kid will get any stronger in the near future. But this is where, well, he can literally try to see into the future of the boy with mostly his power, but that is not really happening. He's not able to see into the future of the boy. And the boy notices and says, do you really think you can see into the future? Ha! Yeah, right. I have a power that can literally block your own future power from seeing mine, but I can see yours. And you will be quite an annoying old man in the near future for me. This is where, well, right now Odin winds his eyes and says, how did you? This is where, well, right now the older kid says, none of your business. This is where, well, the older kid jumps up in the air and crackles into lightning right now, making him and the younger boy that was behind him disappear in an instant, literally in a flash of bluish, turquoise blue lightning. Gone. This is where, well, it looked like he turned into particles and disappeared, but yeah. This is where, well, both Odin and even the Valkyrie were shocked. The Valkyrie was blushing, even though the boy is only 9 years old. He was quite powerful and, of course, quite smart. This is where, well, she would like to meet him in the near future. Maybe when he's actually old enough to be dating and other things. But yeah, that's where, well, we go into a time skip now. We go into mostly both the older kid and Issei landing near the house. This is where, well, Issei says, can I ever learn how to do something like that? Oni-san? This is where, well, now the older brother says, huh? Oh, of course you're gonna learn how to do something like that. Did I tell you? Did you close your ears and also make sure to kind of close your eyes? This is where right now the little Issei kind of nodded. 8-year-old Issei. This is where all the other brothers smiles and says, "Good. One day I might teach you how to do it, but you might have to use your own element. You can't use my elements because, well, I have both lightning and darkness. You one day will learn how to use your own powers, okay, Issei?" This is where Issei says, "Yeah, I want to learn how to use fire. I want to rival mostly my older brother's power. I want my fire to be blue or purple. It'd be so cool. Don't you think, Oni-san?" This is where, well, mostly his older brother chuckles and says, "Don't worry, I'll teach you." This is where, well, they go inside the house, and this is where, well, mostly, when they go inside the house, they see mostly both Mika and Goro. Goro's right now in the chair, kind of like watching TV. Well, not chair, mostly in the seat. While mostly Mika was right now like cooking the food, and this is where, well, she noticed both boys. This is where, well, she kind of questioned both boys if they had fun at the park. This is where, well, both Issei and even the older boy kind of said, yes, of course. This is where, well, Mika says, well, Raiko. Right now, not Raiko, Raikou. This is where, well, mostly the other boy who's named Raikou kind of says, yes, mother, do you need something? So, are you really sure that you want to go to your grandfather's house later on? You don't want to just like kind of spend a little bit more time with your little brother before he goes to school and you go to your grandfather's house? This is where, well, mostly the older boy kind of nodded, saying, I want to actually learn mostly grandpa's martial arts. And I want to teach mostly Issei when he's older, a little bit older than me. Or mostly at the same age, but not the point. This is where, well, Mika kind of nodded and says, understood. This is where, well, Mika does know that it's mostly the older kid, Raikou, who's actually mostly Issei's older brother, is right now quite smart and quite a genius. Now, of course, he can literally pass first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, and any other grades to just go up to high school. But the kid knows that he will not do that because, well, he's an idiot. He's not going to try at all. This is where, well, but instead wants to try on martial arts for mostly his grandfather. But yeah. But this is what, well, we go into mostly Issei kind of crying right now, wanting to go back to the park and other things. Now, of course, it was kind of almost the afternoon when mostly Issei was crying because he actually wants to go play outside, which mostly Mika and Goro didn't really know what to do until mostly Raikou, who's actually kind of just said, don't worry, Mom, Dad, I'll protect him. This where, well, both of them were a little iffy to even let mostly the older child protect the youngest child, but still mostly the older child was only 1 year older, but of course they were just like iffy to let mostly them play near almost the afternoon, almost turning dark, but yeah. But this where, well, they sigh and let both of them kind of go. This where, well, we go into the park, and of course this where, well, mostly the park was almost empty entirely until, well, mostly, well, Issei was walking around, and of course, noticed a girl with mostly whitish hair. This is where, well, she kind of had goldenish kind of, or not goldenish, bluish eyes, and of course, she kind of had like this princess outfit. This is where she was a little bit crying, and of course, well, she was kind of scared and nervous. When Issei found her, this is where, well, mostly Issei kind of gave out his hand, saying, are you okay? This is where, well, he kind of gave his hand right towards the girl who's sitting on the bench. Now, the girl seems to be the same similar age as Issei, and this is where, well, the girl says, no, I'm not fine. I'm just scared, very, very scared. This is where, well, mostly Issei says, don't worry, I'll protect you if you're scared. Because Issei still has this kind of hero kind of persona thing, because thanks to Irina helping him, but yeah, because they both wanted to be heroes, but not the point. But this is where, well, mostly the older boy was nowhere near to be next to Issei, but this is where, well, he did meet two kind of beautiful girls. One girl with kind of icy blue hair, and of course mostly snowy white skin with mostly icy blue eyes, and the other girl kind of having mostly palish blue eyes and kind of blondish hair, like palish rose blonde hair. This way, well, she also had kind of palish skin, but not the point. There was another girl who actually was, well, the last one was a girl with kind of pinkish long hair, a little bit with kind of like tints of blue hair around her head. And this is where, well, she did have kind of crystallized blue eyes, and this is where, well, she kind of had like a little bit palish skin, well, palish whitish skin, but yeah. That's where, well, when they kind of met up with the older boy, who's actually mostly 9 years old, the girls with mostly the rose, well, palish rose blonde hair, and the girl with pinkish hair, actually are 9 years old. The bluish hair girl to a 10-year-old, but this where, well, mostly when the older kid introduced himself to be named Dark Raikou, also known, well, as Raikou Hyodo, This is where the other girls decide to introduce themselves. The bluish hair girl was named Estef, while the other girls, mostly the girl with kind of palish rose blonde hair, was named Junko and Nishima, and the last one was named, well, her name was Rosa Hana. This is where, well, mostly they were kind of interested in the boy because the boy was quite nice and very kind to them. Now, of course, they were somewhat nervous and scared, but not much. They were just kind of out here just playing a little bit. Now, they didn't really know each other, but of course, they just met through the fact that they were going to the main park because they had literally ice cream. This is where, well, they were all kind of waiting for ice cream, but really there was no ice cream person, but instead like some kind of kidnapper trying to kidnap them. Even the kind of like boy. This is where, well, the kidnapper says, "Don't worry, kids. You should get into my van." This is where, well, the girl who was 10 years old, near her eyes because she literally got tricked because there's no ice cream. The girl with kind of palish blue eyes, her eyes almost went red because she was angry and furious. This is where, well, she was going to make this man feel nothing but despair. This is where the girl with icy hair was actually wanting to just freeze this guy entirely. The girl with mostly pinkish hair, she was furious, and this is where, well, her hair almost just light up pinkish, like brightish pink with the blue color kind of almost lighting up. And the boy was the most furious. His eyes almost went in completely just, well, cracking with blue lightning, with nothing but turquoise lightning, and his hair went completely black in an instant. This is where, well, something that mostly the man didn't know, that all four of them were not a normal child. They all had this very powerful aura behind them. Now, of course, the man, he was no supernatural entirely, but he all he saw was the blue one had this blue demonic kind of like demon behind her. This is where, well, the girl with mostly blondish hair also had like this weird demonic energy that had like a very mostly like this demonic looking energy that had nothing but despair around it. And the girl with kind of rosy pink hair also had some kind of demonic energy, but this where, well, it was quite powerful and bright and kind of honorable somewhat, but this where she was also fierce, so of course it had some rap in it. But this where the last one, and that was a boy, had mostly two different spirits: a dragon crackling with blue lightning, with mostly turquoise blue lightning, and the other one kind of being a demon made out of pure black and darkness. This is where, well, the other man realized that he's tripping balls, and this is where, well, he realized that he fucked up. He needs to run. This is where, well, before anything happened, this is where, well, mostly we go into Issei Hyoto, who is right now kind of fighting against this like older man, who right now kind of is like, well, having, well, mostly his friend named Valkyrie Lucifer hostage, and this is where he summons out the boosted gear. This is where he's angry and saying, "I'm not gonna let you hurt her." This is where, well, he's trying to protect her, and this is where Valkyrie is trying to right now plead with Issei to stop this. But this is where they felt quite powerful auras, even the older man, who was confused. But this is where, well, the older boy actually felt an energy similar of a dragon. This is where, well, he right now disappears by kind of like kicking the guy in the head first, the kidnapper, out, knocking him cold. But this is where, well, he then says, "I need to be going." This is where, well, he said with a dark tone voice and start rushing into the forest, right now in high speeds in an instant. This is where the girls were confused, but decide to follow along to see where the boy even went. He's right now running like really fast. Think of it like Killer Whale right now running with lightning cloak around him. Yes, the boy has a lightning cloak right now. It is none other than me running like hell. This is where, well, what I see right now, I see the older man right now have Issei from the neck, and this is where, well, mostly the person's name, "My name is Rosamund Lucifer, little brat. You should have just let me took my daughter, my granddaughter back, but I guess I have to kill you." This is where, well, before he can even kill him, a kind of two magic circles appear. One that was red, and the other one was kind of like an unholy one, like a fallen angel crest. And that was basically Aso, and even was it called? Well, mostly, what was it called? Surgex Lucifer appearing. This is where Rizum scoffs and says, "What the hell do you two want?" This is where mostly Aso says, "I can't let you just kill the Red Dragon Emperor's new host here. And I can't let you just freaking take, well, mostly Valerie back." This is where Valerie says, "Uncle Aso." This is where, well, right now she kind of said quietly. And this is where, well, right now Surgex says, "Let go of the boy, Lucifer." Well, ex-Lucifer. This is where Lucifer almost gets pissed in an instant right now, Lucifer. And this is where he says, "I'm gonna kill the boy." This is where, before he can even do anything, a lightning hand right now pierces through his back in an instant. making him widen his eyes. His magic almost depleted in an instant. Darkness was almost swallowing him up. But this is where a powerful energy exploded from him. This is where, well, before he can even understand what the hell happened, he finds an older kid right now holding on to the smaller brown-haired boy. This is where nothing but darkness is rattling, just kind of crackling around him. Mostly lightning and darkness just swirling around him. This is where the boy narrowed his eyes at the older man, and right now had his eyes cold as hell. One of them was right now glowing a brightish white color. This is where, well, it was mostly the right eye, and mostly the patch of black hair was actually turning white. Slowly, but of course, mostly crackling, kind of like lines of whites crackling through his, like, mostly right eye. Like, it's too much for him to even hold. This is where, well, white lightning is coursing through his also right hand, and it seemed to have some blood in it. This is where, well, Rizzo says, what the hell are you? This is where, well, mostly the person says, be gone from my sight. This is where, well, he said something, and all he just said is push away. He's just say blast away from his mouth. And this is where, well, a very powerful gust of like some kind of force smashes into Rizzo and smash him into a different place. But not the point right now, because I have to leave it off here because I gotta be going. Yeah, I only have kind of a short couple of minutes, but other than that, bye soon. Yeah, sorry, but yeah, I gotta go.